Hello. In the next few minutes I'm going to share with you 5 golden tips, 5 proven ways to drive more business, more prospects to your website. What we're talking about, of course, is search engine optimization, or at least a tiny aspect of it. I'm going to come clean. I don't pretend to be a search engine guru. I'm certainly no computer technician. In fact, I'm a copywriter. That's an incredibly competitive environment. But all of my business comes via the web. I don't spend a penny on marketing, it's not necessary. And that's because I've optimized the site, and I've done it myself. And along the way I've discovered that in fact it's not at all complex. It's time consuming, but not complicated. How many people visit the site? Well, these figures are from Google Analytics, and you'll see that in the last month, and that was a fairly typical month, 27,000 visits to the site. And they're not the same people recycled over and over again. In fact, over 88% of them were new visitors. More than 25,000 new people every month is that sort of figure of visiting the site. So think just for a few seconds what an extra 20-odd thousand new visitors every month could mean to your website, to your business. If you find the concept appealing, stay with me, because this is tip number 1. I'm going to call this the name game, and I'm going to paint 2 scenarios. One, a brand new company launching its new website. The second, an established company with a website that's been around for some time and is recognised reasonably within its marketplace. So our first scenario, let's suppose you set up this company and you're manufacturing cupcakes. You've been to the marketing experts, you paid them an arm and a leg, and they've given you the perfect name for your company, and that's Yummy. So now we're about to set up our website. We need a domain name. That's the bit that comes after www. So Amazon.com, IBM.com. What is ours going to be? Pretty obvious, really. Yummy.com. Well, no. That would be missing an important trick. And you need really to understand how Google determines where you're going to be within the rankings for searches. Google has something called a spider. This is a piece of software that crawls all over the website, and it's got a tick list, and it goes site by site looking at how well their criteria match against particular search terms. The more ticks you get, the higher up the ranking, and some ticks are fatter than others. And one big fat tick is your domain name. You can prove this yourself. I can do a search on almost anything. I've chosen the word chocolates. And you'll see that do a search on Google for chocolates, and 85 million websites meet that criteria. But we all want to be in the top 10. We want to be on page 1. So if we then look at the 10 top websites for that search term, you'll see that the majority of them, I think it was 7, it might have been 8 out of the 10, contain the word chocolates within the domain name. So maybe we need the word cupcakes in our domain name. That was easy, but what about established companies? Let's suppose our company is called Joseph & Co. They're in Connecticut, and they have a showroom selling plumber's supplies. And they're reasonably well known amongst local plumbers, becoming a little better known amongst consumers, but they want to improve. It would be a great pity to throw away the baby with the bathwater and lose the strength they've already got in their brand. And in fact, they don't have to. You can have your brand and eat it. You see, you can have more than one domain name. A domain name costs $5, $10 a year to rent, so maybe Joseph should rent another name, that is, let's suppose, plumbingsuppliesconnecticut.com, and make that the main domain name on their website, but still retain the original one. The look and feel of the website doesn't change at all, and anyone keying in josephs.com will land on the site. It really is almost completely transparent to the visitor, but it's a cracking way of pushing your site further up the rankings. And often, certainly for companies that cover a particular locale, it can be very useful to put your town name, your area name into the domain. This is going to be a short tip, but an incredibly useful one. Remember I said that Google has got a spider that crawls all over the internet evaluating websites. Wouldn't it be good to be able to know how often it visits your site and how often it visits your competitors' sites? Well, you can do just that. You type in a search term, cache, colon, followed by the domain name. Let's try it out now. We'll try it on my website, which is copywritingondemand.com. And it's showing us exactly how the site looked the very last time that it was visited by the spider, but most importantly, it's showing the date. And yep, it visited less than a week ago. Good news. I don't know about you, but I'm rather warming to this idea of spying on our competitors. And there's a cracking way of doing it. A free website, you simply type in www.alexa.com. It will respond with a search box, and you put in there the address, the website address of your competitor. Let us suppose that we are a manufacturer of house signs, and I put in here a genuine company, so let's look at their website. I hope they don't mind. There's a wealth of information. But perhaps the most interesting of all is which search terms are working for them. And it's interesting to see this real company, 25% of all of their visitors have used the search term slate house signs. So that should be a cracker for us to adopt as well. It also tells us something about the demographics, the sort of people that visit the website. And you'll see that overwhelmingly, for some reason, they're male, and they seem to be, in the main, between the ages of 25, 35. So that'll help us enormously, both in terms of the design, the look and feel of our website, and also the sort of copy that we're going to employ. So much for competitors. Let's go back to Google Spider. Let's find out what it eats. So what does Google Spider like to eat? Well, it devours words. Although website designers love to use video, flash, images and so on, all of which are excellent, of course, for human visitors, Google Spider has a problem digesting them. Words, it has no problem whatsoever. So the tip is at least 200 words per page. I go further and say have as many pages as possible. They need to be relevant, of course, but as many pages containing words. More than 100 pages, ideally, on your website. How do you do that if yours is a simple product or service? You know, contact us, the product itself, about us, you very quickly run out of pages. The secret is to have a blog or to have a news section on the site. Add a new news item every week. And that's something else, by the way, that Google likes. It likes to see an active site. So if it's visiting your site weekly and there's a change every week, yeah, that's a really big tick. How do you find a news item each week? Not difficult. You could manufacture news, but you'll be surprised how much there really is to say. Maybe it's an enhancement to the product. Maybe it's a new deal that you've just closed. It may be an opinion piece, a customer story. It may even be general news taken from your industry. But please go out of your way to add as many pages and as many words as possible to your website. Well, we've reached the final tip now, and we're going to be talking about mutual links or inbound links. You've probably heard the term already. And this is the most difficult aspect of search engine optimization. It's not complex, but it is difficult, it's time consuming. Let's stop for a moment though and just remind ourselves how sensible the whole approach of Google Spider really is. You know, it's comparing site A with site B, and it prefers site B for a number of reasons. It seems to have more words on it. They seem to be relevant words. It seems to have more pages, more content. It seems to change more regularly, so it's a lively site. It's being updated more often. And it also seems to have a number of external sites linking into it. In other words, they're almost voting for it, saying to their own visitors, hey, you must visit this site. It is interesting. How do we go about getting links? Well, I used the word mutual links earlier, and that of course is the secret. We need to contact other websites and persuade the owner to create a link to our website, and the motivation for them to do that is that we in turn will create a link to their website. Google realizes that there's an obvious way of cooking the books here, and for a period there was something known as link farms, where unscrupulous people created thousands of websites, and for a small fee would create links from each one of them to your own site. So now Google actually has some very clever algorithms where it checks the content and the context of what is linking. So they really need to be relevant sites. Once you've done the obvious things of finding directories and so on, and suitable sites within your industry, eventually you're saying, how can I take it further but still remain relevant? And you really need to start thinking laterally. I'm going to give you a couple of examples of the way you can do this. The first one, a small guest house in France, a small hotel, and they'd exhausted all of the obvious opportunities. So they said, what else can we do? Well, whenever vegetarians come, we always look after them very well. Why don't we add a page to our website about vegetarian meals? Another page, more words. But then we've got an opportunity of contacting vegetarian websites and offering mutual links. Let's take an example from my own website now. I'm a wordsmith, a copywriter. Once I'd exhausted all the obvious opportunities, I tried to think laterally, who else uses words in a business context? And of course translation agencies do. There are people who translate business content from French to German and so on. And very easily I found I was able to contact these people. We weren't in competition with each other, it was the whole point. In the same way that the vegetarian websites were not in competition with the guest house. So do try to think laterally. There is enormous opportunity out there for creating mutual links. So there we have it, 5 very practical tips to help boost the number of people visiting your website. If you like what you heard, perhaps you should consider investing in the online workshop, How to Google Boost Your Business. You may remember that at the beginning of this session I explained that my own site now achieves more than 25,000 new visitors every month, well over 250,000 a year. And in the workshop I explain, line by line, exactly everything that I did to my site to achieve those figures. Every one of these tips can easily be transferred to your own website. They do not require technical expertise. So confident am I that you're going to be delighted. I'm offering a 100% money back guarantee. So I do hope to see you again in the very near future. To find out more, visit my website www.copywritingondemand, that's 3 words, .com.